Hello my friends, there is one more provocation today from Russia against NATO countries. Russia launched their fighter jets close to Tallinn, capital city of Estonia. Well, fighter jets were not flying over the city itself, but they were in Estonian airspace over the Gulf of Finland and very close to one of the gas or oil platforms located in this place. This platform belongs to the Polish company. Fighter jets violated NATO airspace and stayed there for a long 12 minutes. Those kind of the fighter jets, this is MiG-31. Some sources say that there were 3 of the airplanes and different sources say 2. MiG-31 is a really fast airplane and it may carry Kinjal hypersonic missiles, so it's the launching platform. They regularly send those missiles to Ukraine. Yeah, multiple of the reports confirmed that Estonian airspace violated by Russian jets on Friday. Moreover, Estonia now calls for Article 4 to be implemented, which means consultations with other NATO allies. Similar stuff that happened in Poland 10 days ago. Well, Swedes report that they launched Gripen fighters to intercept Russian MiG-31 fighters over Baltic Sea. Well, intercepted means that they monitored their flight paths, that's it. So even the violation of NATO airspace doesn't count as an imminent threat. So no one even says that it could happen as with the Russian military jet that was shot down over Turkey. It happened in 2017, but you see that Russian jet violated Turkish airspace just a little, and it was enough for Turkey to react. But now many of the MiG-31s flying for 12 minutes, come on, no reaction. By the way, it looks like, at least on this map, that jet was hit over Syria, not over Turkey. Nevertheless, Turkey did it, and the outcome? What's the outcome? There was no any war between NATO and Russia, even though Turkey is a part of NATO. And Russia and Turkey are pretty much okay with each other, I would say. Yeah, they trade, everything is normal. Yeah, Turkey partially supports Ukraine, but just partially, not as Europe. So would it be a war if those jets were shot down? I don't think so, because for Putin it doesn't really matter. He might create this casus belli from any sort of the thing, like provocation, like he did in Ukraine. History showed us there were some of the provocations from the Russian side. Then they burned down some of the UAZik car and the abandoned building in the forest, saying that it's the FSB office, and they started this war against Ukraine. There was no actually casus belli for that thing. So it doesn't matter here. If Putin decides, he will attack. Moreover, the weak reaction from NATO will encourage Russia to act aggressively. Well, Russia has already started to behave like that. At first there were single drones violating NATO airspace, as Russia says, by accident, and there was no reaction by NATO. Then here you go, 20 drones to Poland. NATO again says that it's the provocation and not an attack. Plus Donald Trump say that it could be just a mistake. So if it is like that, Russians say, here you go with fighter jets. And with each escalation, Russia is coming closer and closer to the full-scale military conflict. For me, it's already vivid. Putin wants to attack those countries in perspective. Yeah, it's just a matter of time for now. And the situation in Ukraine also matters a lot, because Ukraine here deflects lots of the Russian army resources. But still, if Russia really needs to attack Baltics, they may announce a new mobilization, and here you go, they may have 1 million soldiers in a matter of few months. So if Russia starts this mobilization saying that they need reinforcements to send to Ukraine, be alerted about it, because they might have wider plans. So I expect more escalation in that region, especially the NATO and United States are weak. By the way, today Russia launched the attack on Ukraine. You may see we have trajectories of the drones flying towards Cherkasy and maybe Kiev. They entered Ukrainian airspace roughly 1 hour ago. And who knows, maybe they might even proceed further to Poland, Romania, as it was already before many of the times. Well, Trump's representative Keith Kellogg said that Putin wants to restore the Russian Empire, so he knows everything. And Kellogg tells about that stuff to Donald Trump, but Donald Trump just cannot receive this message. Trump is living in his own personal bubble, accusing Biden and Zelensky for starting this war against the country, which is 15, sometimes he says 20 times larger. Trump's Taco brain has this firewall, you cannot breach it, so I do not expect anything good from United States, not just for Ukraine, but also if we speak about protection of NATO allies in Europe. And maybe even Taiwan. Oh, by the way, I thought that those photos are just examples for us of the Russian fighter jets, but actually they were taken today by the time this provocation or violation of the NATO airspace happened. So we have those particular jets here. Well, Donald Trump today was asked about the situation with the Russian fighter jets that violated the airspace of NATO. Let's check out this answer. A journalist's question is barely heard because of the poor audio, so I may tell you what he asked. He wondered whether Donald Trump considers this airspace violation as the threat for NATO.
Well, I'm going to have to look at it. They're going to be briefing me in a short while, so I'll let you know about it tonight or tomorrow.
What's your take in general?
Well, I don't love it. I don't love it when that happens. It could be big trouble, but I'll let you know later. They're going to brief me in about an hour.
And a follow-up on Charlie.
Is there any reaction of condemning the situation that happened? Except I don't love it. There is absolutely zero reaction. I'm gonna be briefed maybe tomorrow, 2 days, 2 weeks, who knows, 2 years maybe. And what the hell is there? Trump Gold Card is here, trumpcard.gov, what? Is it the immigration golden card he promised to give even for Russian millionaires? Well, could be like that, and this guy, he likes himself so much, he's a narcissist psychopath, and you guys in United States, you elected it to be your president. Donald Trump about making money on the Ukrainian war.
I don't want to make money on that war. I don't want to, but we are actually making money on that war because they're buying our equipment, as you know. But
so give it for free if you don't want to make money. I mean, for Ukraine, not to European partners. Just direct military support of Ukraine, and believe me, there will be less provocations from the Russian side against NATO allies. But this idiot is pretty much stupid to understand the reality. By the way, United States is selling its weapons to European partners, but for the higher price, 10% more. As an excuse, they tell about the transportation cost, but it's the totally separate thing. Because transportation fees are well known, they're regulated, they're out there, visible, transparent, and plus conducted mostly by private companies, who might show how much money they spent, but no, Europeans pay 10% more because it's about Ukraine, you know, after all. We need to earn those money on war. And Ukraine launches some of the drones on territory of Russia. It's gonna be interesting night for Russians. Probably we'll have more news in the morning about the Ukrainian drone strike. Great news we have, European Commission agreed to apply 19 sanctions package on Russia. Well, in this package, Europe also will look to target some of the companies of China and India that continue their operation with the Russian fossil fuels. So officially, Europe already might show to Donald Trump, we apply the sanctions as you wish on China, on India, and the European Union plans to cut the Russian oil supplies entirely. Just Slovakia and Hungary is against this step. By the way, Trump's friends, so Trump, come on, do something, you know, we are acting and you're just promising 2 weeks, 50 days, 10 days. But after all, Trump tackles every freaking time because his demands to European Union countries to apply tariffs on China, India, to stop purchasing Russian fossil fuels, those demands are for nothing. It is just an excuse for Donald Trump to not implement his own sanctions and not to support Ukraine directly. And I do not expect Donald Trump to change. Alright, a Kremlin spokesman Peskov mentioned today that Putin and Trump are working together in achieve long-term peace in Ukraine, but the European Union is against it. They are doing everything for this war to continue, so there are some sort of the warmongers, or how to call those, in the Russian eyes, obviously. So here we see the statements from Russia again and again that Trump is our friend, we're gonna work with Trump, but basically they're using Donny for their own needs to achieve result in Ukraine. Trump is the diplomatic weapon of Russia. Well guys, later I'm gonna film the front lines review because I'm still waiting for the military map update and more information coming from the front lines. My separate thanks for Patreon supporters and also for members of my YouTube channel. Guys, thank you so much for motivating me to continue my job. You're awesome. And I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.